All right, so I couldn't find any videos on how to do this, so I'm hoping that maybe I can help somebody out by putting this. So I'm trying to install my Starlight headliner, my 2016 Mustang, and first step that you got to do is remove this Torx. I believe there's another. All right, so when it comes to removing the visor, what you have to do, there's a Torx 20 screw that goes in right here, and then on this side there's just a plug that you just depress this end right here. I don't know if you can see it. And then on the other side there's just this clip right here, and what I did, I just got 2 flathead screwdrivers and I just compressed the spring together, and then the whole thing just slid out. And be sure, don't pull straight down when the visor's coming off, because it's hooked. So drop the side that has the screw down first, and then rotate this one forward to get that off. And remove the center map lights. It's really easy. You just pull on both sides and they just drop down, and then there's a plug. I don't want to do it with one hand, but yeah, got all that pulled off. I'll pop my A-pillars off. I believe that's what they are. Just a little bit. Worked it out from the headliner. I mean from the weather stripping. Now pulled this panel off, and all these you can just kind of like easily pull back on, how they just separate. And it's the same way on the other side. I just started working my way out all the way to the back. And I'm still trying to figure this out, so I'll keep you updated. All the other sides are off. If you look, there's one magnet right there with a pin, another magnet. And once these are down, I would say get as close to the magnet as you can, just so you don't try to avoid creasing the headliner. And then it's just dropped down. So I want to try to figure out what's the best way to get this out without creasing it, and then I'll let you know. So once you get to this point where the magnets and stuff have dropped, slide the headliner back probably about 6 inches, and then that way you can get the corners of it out of the front pillars here. And the only thing left was these wires, and I looked around and there was no other really way to like unplug them, because I didn't want to try to mess with the front pillar airbags. So it's kind of like a tacky adhesive, so I want to go back with glue when I reinstall this, and you just had to try to ease it off in the grooves here. But at this point I'm going to double check, but I believe the headliner's free. And you just got to do the same thing on this side. There's just this one wire and this long wire going up to the center lights, and then the other wire for the other visor on the driver's side. So I've already begun drawing the dots, all 550, which are the orange ones, and gluing them in. But I had on each side, I had 3 of these little plastic things that were glued like this. So I just got a body tool and I labeled them driver 2, and that was driver 1. And I drew angled arrows pointing to the front. And I just had to scrape those off. And I just outlined them. So once I go and glue them in, I'm just going to lightly glue these right back over the top. And to poke the holes, I'm just using a long needle, and then I'm just sticking through there, and then running the fiber optic cable through there, and just hot gluing them. And I put a lot of hot glue just to make sure that the cables that come through. So this is the final product. Glued on my end, and then the pads that I pulled off initially, I just lightly glued those over, still leaving like a gap, just so my headliner didn't have space in between it. All right, so I didn't film too much getting it in here, but basically I just did the same steps to remove it, just in reverse. So I started with trying to get the front slid far enough up, and then working my way to the back, just getting everything tucked behind the panels. And I ran, I don't know if you can tell, the bundle all the way down. I just kind of like separated that panel a little bit, and I ran it back behind here, and then there's just an empty area, so I just mounted the box there, and I ran the wire for the cigarette lighter, because that's how I want to power it. I just tucked it under the back seats. I ran it out to where it goes right here, and then it goes into my center console. So when I was editing the video, I realized I didn't kind of show too well about this panel. So to basically pop this panel off, you just pull on the seat belt, and then there is one pin right here, and it all just kind of slides out like so. And as you can kind of see right back in here, there's where I put the box. I just 3M taped it, and you can see I just put all the excess fiber optic cable. It's just hollow in there, and that's where I mounted my control box. And then I just ran the cable out there. This is how it turns out outside the car. So this is the finished product. Definitely don't think videos do it justice. If you see it in person, it definitely looks way better than it does in video. There's with the twinkle mode on. Definitely adds a new dynamic to the car. For everybody wanting to know what it looks like when it's off, so this is off, and I got my flash and my camera on, and you really can't tell. I mean, if you know what you're looking for, you can tell, but then when you turn it on, and that's still with the flash on my camera. So I think it turned out pretty well.